Hi, welcome. It's another day and it's another episode of the AFCON Daily show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Carl. Many thanks for tuning in. This is the show that you need to accompany you as you enjoy the coverage of the 2023 AFCON, which is being played next door in the beautiful country of Cote d'Ivoire. You are watching Citi TV, and this show is proudly sponsored by our very good friends at Bet Power. If you want the best odds, the best payouts, the biggest things in terms of betting, Bet Power is your friend. They are your preferred choice, and they are sponsoring the show. We are very happy to be friends with the very good people at Bet Power. So for the next 2 hours, please stay and stay. I've got great guests, great chit-chat, great interviews, highlights of the action, previews of what will happen today. And today is an important day as the Black Stars take on Egypt in the second Group B encounter in the ongoing AFCON. It is probably make or break, win or go home for the Black Stars today, and we'll get through all of that chit-chat in the next 2 hours or so. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we get the show off the ground. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. Let me introduce my in-studio guests because we'll be joined by some guests on the Zoom a little later. Yahweh Jaminta of the Citi Sports Desk. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Nathan.
All right. And Sednam Edmond. Edmond, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
All right. I'm all right. Thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, we'll have great guests joining us on the Zoom a little later. But it's right, if not proper, that we start off with a review of the action from yesterday. So before the kickoff, we're talking about the mighty Morocco, Africa's #1 ranked team, the first African team to make it to the last four of the FIFA World Cup. They had stepped up to the plate, or they were due to step up yesterday in their game, and they played the very first game of the day, and it was between themselves and the Taifa Stars of Tanzania. Let's see how the action broke down. All right, it was liftoff for the Atlas Lions of Morocco. They won that game by 3-0, getting themselves a heavy scoreline, 3 points on the board, and hopefully their first step towards an AFCON. They've not won an AFCON since 1976, and they are hoping that this year it will work out for them. Let me take thoughts of the guys. Sednam, let me start off with you. Are you surprised by what we saw from the Moroccans?
Not really. They just proved everybody wrong. This time playing as the favorites. Normally they tend to play as the underdogs, but this time playing as the favorites. They stepped up to the plate and they delivered the needed things. That's goals and points. For Tanzania, I think it's difficult for them because it's a long way back. I don't see how they can even get a point in this tournament.
Wow, you don't trust them?
I don't trust them.
I see. Yeah, your thoughts on the performance. I think we'll dissect it on these two sides. Let's start off with the Moroccans. What do you think helped them cross the line? I mean, 3-0, very huge scoreline. Yeah. What did it come down to on the day?
I think it came down to they getting comfortable, and that red card also helped them get comfortable because in the first half, you could tell that they were trying to go through their game plays. They had rehearsed a couple of things in training, especially when they were working the ball from the flanks a bit infield. But consistently, they were missing out on the mark because you could tell that there were a few kinks in their system and how they wanted to play. And so they weren't too comfortable. But after that red card, then things became a little bit easy. They had a little bit more time on the ball once they progressed the ball beyond midfield. And that's how come the second goal came about. We saw how they were able to work the ball with Unai heavily involved. And so I think it was down to that red card and they just getting comfortable as it naturally happens, because once you play your first game and you are under such pressure as they are, you kind of have a few jitters. No matter how experienced you are as a team, you have a few jitters. We've seen it happen over the years. I mean, you look at, for instance, Spain before the 2010 World Cup. A lot of people picked them to win the 2010 World Cup. That they were so good, all they had to do was just show up at the tournament, and they will end up walking away with a trophy. The first game they lost to Switzerland because of how the setup was, that there was way too much pressure on them, and they weren't comfortable playing that game against a very defensive side, and they ended up losing that game. And so for Morocco, it was just they getting comfortable and they getting a little bit of help with that record.
Interesting. I don't know if the production team, maybe you can run through the goals and talk about a few things.
And to top it all up, you look at the first goal, for instance, they couldn't break through up until that set piece came about. They had a couple of good chances where I thought Hakim Ziyech should have been able to square a pass to his teammates. He refused to do so, unlike the Senegalese.
And we do have that first goal. Yeah. Very interesting free kick from Hakim Ziyech.
I won't blame the goalkeeper.
Initially when I saw it, yes. I kind of blamed it, but I get it because the ball went all over the place.
Swayed, but barring that sway, I would have blamed him. He's at fault because you don't do that. But just for the mere fact that he stepped out of position and trying to come back, so he had lost balance and he had only one thing to do, that's just parry it.
And Romain Saiss was there.
He was there
to tap it in.
At the right position.
And I think it's an interesting thing we are seeing. So Jiku has scored a defender.
Yeah.
Saiss has scored. So it's interesting seeing how some teams put defenders in some of these set-piece situations. Quick thinking from Saiss to see it and then react and put the ball in. We talked about the ease with which the Moroccans played, and that second goal, and I'm sure my producers will put it up. Yeah. It was a brilliantly worked goal. Yes. I loved watching it, and I was home, and as the sequence was developing, all I was hoping for that a goal would end it, because I thought they really passed the ball around very, very well.
Yesterday, I predicted that Morocco would win by 2-0. Yeah. I thought, honestly, they were going to get a free kick or set-piece goal and the Nesri goal. Yeah. That kind of finish to round it up and get those 2 points, 2 goals and the 3 points. But once you had the red card coming, the spaces were bound to open up. And once the spaces open up, I've always said that one reason why I believe that Morocco can make a successful or deep run in this tournament, despite the huge pressure that they are under, is the fact that they can mix it up. We've already seen them do the defensive side. Before Wahid Regragui took over, they were expansive, typical North African side, very entertaining, very pleasing to watch, but they didn't have that steel. Now they have that steel, and so we get to see the other side of them. In that first half, we didn't get to see that side too many times. Their passes were all over the place. But once that red card came in, it gave them that chance to really express themselves. And that goal was the epitome of they expressing themselves.
Unahi, a player who is enjoying his time at Marseille in France. There's a lot of attention on him. Lovely finish. You know, he didn't have to. He
passed the ball like a Kevin De Bruyne type finish.
De Bruyne like KDB. So let me ask you this. Yao makes a point about the red card and the effect it had on the game. Yeah. If you were the Moroccans, you wake up this morning, you've won 3-0. Would you be concerned that, wait, it had to take a red card for us to break this team down and score 2 extra goals in addition to the... Because at 1-0 it was 11-11. And then the rest of it, when Tanzania went down to 10. If you're in the Moroccan camp, would you be a little worried that, look, it had to take Tanzania losing 1 man for us to get 2 goals?
I wouldn't be worried because after the red card, something happened. The coach of Morocco effected 2 changes instantly, and that's what really changed the game. Because I think Adlid, he came in and then just tore everybody apart, started stringing passes and brought Onahi more into the game for them to have that routine training example for everybody to see what they have actually been doing on the training ground, on the pitch. And for me, those changes were the catalyst for them to win by this margin, because they had been doing the odd thing by releasing the ball into the box, crossing it, and we were not getting those results. But once those 2 changes came into effect, it changed everything.
I see.
It really changed. The changes were everything for them. Those 2 changes. So they won the game from the bench.
And they didn't have extra quality because players like Sofiane Boufal and things came off the bench. They had a lot more quality. Goal number 3, again, another example of VAR and sometimes why VAR works. Because even when I watched it, I could easily tell that goal was a good goal. I think the assistant maybe from where he was, he must have seen it differently, but VAR got it right. But El Nesri starting off and reminding everybody that he's a class forward.
Yeah, and at this point in time, that goal he scored, it wasn't a header because he's noted for his aerial ability. I mean, at the World Cup, he was famous for out-jumping Ronaldo on a free kick, and so at this time around, he was able to get the goal with his feet, and it just kind of rounded up the game. Not too much of a fight from Tanzania once they went down by a man. But up until that time, they were quite okay. They were doing okay. They were doing well, holding on as long as they could. But unfortunately, that red card it kind of messed up a lot of things for them. But even with that red card, you can make an argument that his stats didn't show, and he recognized that he was in a dangerous position, and so he kind of pulled his foot away from the challenge. It was more like a mini knee slide, but you can't just collide into the part of a player like that, and that's what warranted the yellow card and not a straight red card. And because he was already on the yellow card,
course, two yellow cards.
That's why he had to go.
Anyway, let me ask you this: you've seen the challenge.
Yes.
Do you think if the referee had been sent to the VAR to see, do you think he may have changed his decision? Because I think the player first, he stretches out his leg.
Then he kind of tucked the back in.
Brings his leg back. What do you think? Do you think it was a fair yellow card?
For it being a yellow card, it's a yellow card all day. But the addition to another yellow card,
that's what made it.
That made it.
So for you, if he were not on a foul and he was yellow carded, you wouldn't have any issues.
No problem.
With that.
No problem. Yeah.
No problem.
The context matters.
Yes,
I
no
see.
problem. Once stats were not showing,
Then
no
it's a
problem.
yellow card.
But you don't go sliding as if you're jubilating a goal when there's someone's knee available.
The context matters, and knowing very well how context plays a key role in decision making. Knowing that Morocco are overwhelming favorites over Tanzania, once a challenge like that happens and he gets a chance to go to the VAR, I'm definitely sure that he would have rescinded his decision.
Okay.
And given him a strong warning that this is your final warning. If you do that again, something like that, you are getting sent off. Because the last thing
the referee saw it in real time.
In real time.
Yes. And in real time, it looked
like a legit foul. And the last thing you want is to have a game that's boring, a blowout kind of result. You want it to be as competitive as possible. And up until that time, though Morocco was very dominant, Tanzania, they held their own, and it was okay. It was in terms of competition level. But once that red card came in, everything just went out the window. And so I honestly believe if he had to go to the VAR, looking at the context that they were playing the game in, I honestly believe he would have rescinded that decision and just given him a strong warning.
I think it leads us brilliantly to talk about Tanzania. Sednam, you said you didn't trust them.
No, I don't.
But up until that red card, I thought they were holding on. Or for you think that they would have lost anyway?
You see, when you go into a football game and you're with your mindset that you are going to hold on.
But it's against Morocco. What else can they do?
You try to at least hit them on the counter or something. Like, try something. But allowing one of your key players who plays outside your shores to even go and get a red card and be doing those kind of things.
Well, how is this their fault?
It messes everything up. But going into their subsequent games, they need to change their approach to a game. They need to understand that they need points to make a statement at the tournament.
So Tanzania, they've got DR Congo
and Zambia.
And Zambia next. So those are games they will have to get something from.
And from their showing, it's going to be extremely difficult.
I think their game against Zambia, they will open up because of their closeness and their style of play. I think against Zambia they will open up, and against DR Congo, it will just be a physical matchup and trying to outduel each other on the physicality game. And I think they'll be evenly matched against Zambia to an extent, and against DR Congo. Though DR Congo will be ahead in terms of quality. In terms of talent level, but they will make it very competitive and very entertaining. So those two games, should they walk away from those two games without a point or points, then that's when I'll be disappointed. Not this game.
Okay.
But when they meet Zambia, it's going to be extremely difficult than it already is because of the Van Grant factor.
Okay.
Because of how he is now coaching the team to play in a certain manner.
Okay,
It's
the
going
Zambians,
to,
you mean?
yes, it's going to be extremely difficult
For
for Tanzania going into that game. And facing the Congolese, seeing what they did yesterday, it also presents another opportunity for them to also try and get some points on the board.
So I guess broadly, the problem with Tanzania is what quality.
Yes,
They
for
just don't
them,
have
for
enough
them, for
quality.
them is
Yeah,
quality.
because in that game against Morocco, especially in the first half, they got a couple of chances. I counted as many as 3, where Morocco had pressed a little bit high. Tanzania had a chance to counter, and the pass that would have really triggered the counter attack, it wasn't there. It was off. And so for me, yeah, they lack a bit of quality. And Samata, he looks very, very isolated up top, and he doesn't get.
Had a horrible. I really felt sad for him.
He doesn't
really
get
had
enough help, and even the delivery on the crosses when they get the one of 2 set pieces, those few set pieces that they get, the delivery on the crosses, it's not at the highest level. So it makes it very difficult for me to see where the goals will come from. But again, it was against Morocco, and so I'm trying to give them the benefit of that they were just trying to be ultra conservative and try as much as possible to get at least a point from me.
So you think that now that they are down 3 goals, no points, they might now have to open up.
Especially when you are playing against Zambia, Zambia and DR Congo. Once you're in the same region, the same mix, you've seen them a couple of times, and the profile of their players are a bit higher than yours, but it's not gaping. Yeah. It's not gaping. I mean, you can't put Hakimi in the same bracket as let's say Estopila Sunzu. You just can't. And so, yeah, I think they will be a little bit up for it in their subsequent games.
All right, we'll see how the Tanzanians will fare in their subsequent games. The 2 teams they will take on subsequently met yesterday. Interesting, at least first 50, 60 minutes between Zambia and DR Congo. And they've given me my other favorite moment of the competition, where that funny piece of goalkeeping by the DR Congo, whatever it is he was thinking, only he can explain to all of us. But let's see the highlights between Zambia and DR Congo. All right, 1-1 between Zambia and the DRC. Very interesting game. In terms of action, it kind of died out, but there were a few other incidents that I enjoyed. Guys, I don't know what you made of the game.
I got my prediction right. The first 1-1.
Yes, you said 1-1.
Yeah, the first 1-1.
The first 1-1
of the tournament.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
They're evenly matched. I think it's a fair result.
Fair result.
Yeah, but it came in a comical way. The Zambian goal.
Okay, we'll get into that. Said now, just your thoughts on the game.
Well, for me, I was trying to see how Avram Grant was still going to set up his teams, and it looks like he hasn't changed. How he sets up his team is how he sets it up, and it showed. I think if they meet a side, if they are able to make it out of the group, they would go home because they'll meet a side with a little more quality who would cause them a lot of trouble. You can't go and camp yourself in your house and expect someone just to keep coming at you like that. It won't work in this tournament. We've seen things happen and people change games with little tactical decisions, but fair result.
I see. It looks like everybody who watched the game felt like, But that first goal, I don't know if my producers can put up that first goal. What in the world was the goalkeeper thinking?
You know, the thing is, I think because he was already out of his goal, so he just decided, you know what, I'm going to kill off this attack. I'm going to prevent Pasandaka from getting to the ball, holding on to it, and allowing or giving his teammates time to move upfield. So in that sense, I'm going to clear the ball out of play. Then ensure that by the time the throw-in comes in, my players would have already recovered. Well, but
he didn't bank on the Zambians.
But it was just quick thinking by the Zambians to just effect the throw-in, and the guy just didn't even think twice. He just dinged it.
Kangwa,
he just dinged it. And for me, the defenders didn't help at all, because especially the one who trailed the play last, he should have cleared that ball, because this wasn't a chip that was angled towards the corner. This was a chip that was falling.
But he was also in motion, so maybe he was trying to sort his feet out.
But there was no point in rushing, because they were the only ones closest to the ball. There was no Zambian player within 20 yards. Okay. So all he had to do was try to control it. Instead of trying to hit
All right,
it
so,
one
okay,
time.
so Kangwa dinks the ball. So you're saying this defender, he
Just try to calmly trap the ball. Don't try to clear it. In attempting to clear it, then he delivered an air shot, and in the process, he conceded a goal. And for me, it was very preventable and very disappointing defending from the Congolese.
So now, I'm sure if you're the DR Congo manager, you will be absolutely angry at the goalkeeper.
Certainly so. Number one, Patson Daka is not heading towards the goal. The ball was taking him away from the goalpost. You've got defenders retreating and trying to cover. Look at when he had the impact with the player.
Yeah.
There were defenders behind him. Where are you going? Are you a ball playing midfielder now? What are you doing? You're supposed to be the last man. You have now gone and you have two people behind you. To make matters worse, I think he was thinking that when
get a foul.
Yes, when he collides, because he's the goalkeeper,
Yes, he'll get the advantage of the foul.
And it's not
That
happening
didn't
this
happen.
time. And for Patson Daka, we've got to give it to him for that smart thinking to quickly throw the ball back and get that beautiful lob. But for the last defender, by the time the ball got to him, it was already a goal. Reason why it was already a goal was the ball was about to bounce right where he wanted to kick it.
Oh, I see.
So it made it difficult for him.
Wow. Comical errors there.
That's why he had to. That's why he had to try to trap the ball
Yes.
Okay.
instead of trying to kick it one time, because the ball is dropping, and players will tell you a ball that is dropping is quite difficult to hit one time or connect with one time.
Yeah.
That's why
we see those one-time volleys and
that's why we marvel over those goals. That's why we marvel over those goals, because it is very difficult to get it right. The likelihood of you
you are
missing
more likely to
the likelihood of you missing the ball is high.
Yeah.
So, and there was no pressure. If there was a forward or a striker or a midfielder close by applying pressure, then fine, you try to hit it one time. But there was no Zambian player within 20 yards. So just try to control the ball and even start an attack, more or less. But he just tried to hit it one time and he ended up fluffing his line. So yeah, very bad goal to concede. The goalkeeper, yes, he has his fair share of blame to take for that decision to rush out of his post. And after making contact with the ball, he spent like 2 seconds on the turf. Those 2 seconds were very critical. If he had just gotten up and started running to his post as soon as he fell on the turf, he would have been in position to just prevent that ball from going in. So it's just a series of errors.
All right. The equalizer, it came almost instantly
Yeah.
after they went down. I thought the Congolese worked that goal really well.
Yeah.
Ball over the top to take out the defense. And then...
Yeah, they tried that a couple of times. There was one instance in that first half where they almost got the ball through Sunzu's legs. Sunzu was just quick to close his legs enough to prevent the ball from just sliding through, because that would have put the midfielder clean on goal. And so, yeah, I think they tried to do it a couple of times, banking on their attacking quality over the Zambians. And yeah, it worked out well in that instance, but they tried a couple of times. It just didn't work out.
So now we've criticized the Congolese backline. Yeah. But I think it's fair we criticize the Zambian backline too, because I thought they were very easy to breach, especially in that equalizer. The ball over the top and then the cutback for Wisa.
That single ball took out everyone. I don't know what exactly they were waiting for or doing, because Sinzu, he has been in this team for God knows how long. He has been with them through and through. You should be commanding the guys that step here. Look at the ball, it's coming this way. Let's step back. This is the face of the game and this is how we attack it. But if you always want the ball to go and expect people to run and raise your hands hoping and praying for an offside, it won't work. But for that goal, excellent goal by Wisa. If he had been playing for his parents' club, the possibility of him missing such opportunity this season is 50%. He would have missed it.
Why?
He has had more glorious chances this season.
For Brentford.
For Brentford.
Yeah.
And he has missed them. No goalkeeper in the post. He has just walloped the ball for him. So for me, it's a good goal for him. I want to see how he performs in the tournament, because he has been lacking form at club for some time. So he needs to pick it up.
And I think we saw that in that game between Tunisia and Namibia, there's that good ball. Once that good ball comes in, and it goes against where the action, the point of action is, it's very difficult for defenders or the defensive lines to get back into position and defend it. Once that ball gets, that cross-field ball comes in, it's very difficult for defenders to defend. And all you need is a very good cross and players in position inside the penalty box to apply the finish. And yeah, teams are learning. Teams watch film. And so, yeah, you have to be fully attentive all the time to ensure that you don't suffer from those kind of plays.
All right, interesting stuff. 1-1 between DR Congo and Zambia. We wait to see how the rest of their AFCON journey will play out in subsequent days and weeks. We'll take a very quick break. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV, proudly sponsored by Bet Power. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we have a lot more to discuss. The Black Stars are in action. There's a very exciting game between Cote d'Ivoire and Nigeria as well. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Carshall, proudly brought to us by Bet Power, our very good friends at Bet Power. They love Ghanaian football. They love what we do here, so they are best friends with us. And they are also best friends with you. For the punters out there, you can get the biggest wins, best odds, biggest payouts, all of that on Bet Power. My guests are still here, Sednam Edmond and Yao Ejimint. Guys, so as we wrap it up on the last group, I guess the obvious question is, in addition to Morocco, who qualified from the group?
Who qualified from this group?
Yes. Because now Morocco need one more win to make it, right? Yeah.
I'll give it to DRC.
You feel DRC have enough
I'll give it
to join Morocco?
Yeah.
Unless the craziest thing happens and Morocco don't qualify.
Yeah. I don't see that happening. So Morocco,
and
DRC.
DRC. Edmond?
It's possible for Zambia to make it out of this group. I see this group to be one of those few groups that would have two teams at least having 4 points.
Two teams having at least 4 points.
Yeah.
So you suspect we could have 3 teams possibly qualifying, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Morocco and then 2 teams that get locked
For me,
in.
the 3 teams qualifying, I look at Ghana's group.
I see.
I look at Mali's group, the Mali South Africa group, and I look at I think that's the same group Namibia is also in.
Yes.
Yes. So I think those are the 2 groups that I see 3 teams qualifying from. This group, maybe, but yeah, this group, because of Tanzania, they might end up losing all their games.
Okay.
So that gives either DR Congo or Zambia the chance to get at least 3 points.
Yeah.
And based on what we saw in the 2021 AFCON, getting 3 points is more than enough to get you to the next stage, because all Ghana needed against Comoros was a draw, and for us to get 2 points to qualify to the next round, and we missed out on that. So yeah, it is possible that 3 teams from this group might end up qualifying to the next stage because of the lack of quality in that Tanzanian team, and they might just end up losing all their games, and that will give all the teams in the 3 points, at least 3 points, for them to progress to the next stage.
All right, still watching the AFCON Daily Show. Let's have a look at today's fixtures. The games that will be played today. There are 3 very interesting games to be played today. There's Equatorial Guinea and Guinea-Bissau. That's the first game at 2 p.m. And then at 5 p.m. is the banger. It's Cote d'Ivoire versus Nigeria. Host nation versus one of the favorites of the competition. And then at 8 p.m., you have Ghana taking on Egypt. In that very important Group B encounter. So those are the games for today. Guinea-Bissau versus Equatorial Guinea. Then you've got Cote d'Ivoire, the host nation, taking on Nigeria. And then you have Egypt taking on the Black Stars of Ghana in a repeat of an AFCON 2017 group game that Egypt won. Mohamed Salah scored in that particular encounter. So that's what the menu looks like for today. All right, let's start off from the very top. So at 2 p.m., guys, we have a game involving Equatorial Guinea and Guinea-Bissau. So the two Guineas,
Yeah, Guinea.
you know, but they are very different, right? So Equatorial Guinea is a Spanish-speaking country.
Guinea-Bissau Portuguese.
Yeah, Portuguese-speaking country. So almost like Spain versus Portugal. Proxy countries, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of that. We've seen the two countries play. Sadam, let me start off with you. We saw Equatorial Guinea drag Egypt into a very, very uncomfortable game that Egypt needed a late penalty to get a point from.
Equatorial Guinea, sorry.
Against Nigeria.
Against Nigeria, sorry,
Yeah,
I said
against Nigeria.
Nigeria. It was Mozambique. So Equatorial Guinea
yeah.
drew one. Okay, so with Nigeria, sorry. Yeah. Also quite uncomfortable for Nigeria. They went down. They had to quickly find a response. And then you had Guinea-Bissau. They were really no match.
Yeah.
I won't say no match. I think that they were brave. They tried, but they fell short against Cote d'Ivoire. I think that's the best description we can give them because
You're being diplomatic.
I'm serious because you see, if you ask me, the teams that have been no match, Tanzania, have not been a match at all. Which other big results have we had? Senegal, yes, the Gambia. The Gambia, they were no match, really. Yeah. So two teams. But I thought Guinea-Bissau, they were brave. They tried, but Charlie Sonway. Let me start off with you. Your initial thoughts on it, you've seen the two teams play.
Yeah.
I guess Equatorial Guinea will look at this game and think that there's something for them there because 3 points means four points.
Yeah.
And it could be enough.
Yeah. Oh, it's more than enough. It will be more than enough.
And that is the motivation they need for this game. Just getting this particular win over a team that would obviously try to show something. Guinea-Bissau is going to come and huff and puff, but I feel Equatorial Guinea have that added quality to get them over the line. Because playing against Nigeria and getting that goal was not a fluke.
And it was a very, very good goal.
Yeah, it was a good goal. It was a world goal. Mr. Salvador.
Yes.
It reminds
Salvador
me of
Iban.
Names from soap operas. That's what he has to cope with. But it was a good outing for them against Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea. They showed that they came for business and they really want to qualify out of the group. And for them, this is it. It's either this or bust. Because in their last game, they are going to try and cause an upset, but come on, we know where it's going to go. So for Equatorial Guinea, Salvador, again, for me, might just get that goal because he is on a certain role and he needs to continue with that particular one going into this game. They need to win at all costs.
To give them a chance.
Yeah. Okay. I really want to see them in the next phase of the competition.
Okay, we'll see. They look quite interesting. Yeah, to the other team, Guinea-Bissau, they lost to Cote d'Ivoire. I'm sure when the fixtures were drawn, they probably looked at this one and said, if we can get anything, it could probably be from this game. Yeah. But now they probably needed more than the Equatorial Guineans.
Yeah, true.
Does it put them in a vulnerable position?
Yes, it does. And I look at how Equatorial Guinea got their goal against Nigeria. Nigeria tried to play out from the back, and it ended up being a broken play. Equatorial Guinea had as many as 3 players in that Nigerian half ready to pounce on that mistake. And it ended up with Salvador getting that goal. And so when I look at Guinea-Bissau, what they showed in that game against Cote d'Ivoire, I think, the fact that they are in a vulnerable position means that they will open up a little bit. And with the quality of Emiliano Nsue in Equatorial Guinea, that's all that they need. I think they have the confidence coming in, they have the momentum coming in, and they have just that little bit of quality, and they also have that mindset. Because if you are able to press high against Nigeria and get a goal from it, what stops you from doing the same against this Guinea-Bissau side that's bound to be shaky and it's very expansive? So I'm betting that Equatorial Guinea will get past Guinea-Bissau in this one, and because of what they showed in that game against Nigeria. Guinea-Bissau, I think they didn't have the right, they didn't show enough of a mentality side of them to be able to just, stay in the fight for as long as possible. I don't think they did so. So for me, I'm leaning towards Equatorial Guinea getting this one and just pretty much booking their spot in the next round.
Okay, all right. We'll see how that game goes between Equatorial Guinea and Guinea-Bissau. It's the first game of today. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we'll get into some social media and then focus on the heavyweights of the day, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, and Egypt, Ghana, all of that and more coming right after this short break. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. Show is proudly sponsored by Bet Power. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV, proudly sponsored by Bet Power. My name is Nathan Kwa. My guests are J. Minta and Edmond Sedina. Many thanks for joining us. It's always fun having you here. You can send your messages on the WhatsApp number on your screen. That's the WhatsApp number on your screen. Sending your thoughts. I'm sure your messages are coming through. You are talking about all the interesting things you've seen so far in the AFCON. The Black Stars are playing later today at 8 p.m. There's live radio commentary on Citi 97.3 FM as the Pharaohs of Egypt host the Black Stars of Ghana. Technically, Egypt are the home team for this encounter. The Black Stars are the away team. We'll see how that will play out later in the day. But let's get into things related to the home country, Cote d'Ivoire. Now they take on Nigeria, and the AFCON fever is everywhere in that country. Now, the song that is accompanying the competition. So, you've heard the official song and all of that, but there's a song in Cote d'Ivoire which is accompanying the vibe or the euphoria around the competition. It's a song by Ivorian singer named Tamsi, and the title of the song is Coup de Marteau. Coup de Marteau means a hammer blow. So, yeah, that's that. Let's enjoy a few minutes of Tamsi's Coup de Marteau, just to give you an idea of the song that is hot in Cote d'Ivoire right now. All right, so that's the sound of Tamsi with the song Coup de Marteau. Yeah, typical Ivorian song, heavy jam song. I'm sure it's playing everywhere in the pubs, the bars, the terraces, the marquees, wherever it is in Abidjan, San Pedro, Korogo, Yopougon, Yamoussoukro, wherever it is. This is the song that is hot. Let's get to Cote d'Ivoire and let me find out if my guest on the Zoom is a fan of the Coup de Marteau. John Boafo is joining us once again. John, how are you doing? Bonjour, and how is Abidjan?
Bonjour à toi. Bonjour to everyone in Ghana. Yeah, everything is good in Côte d'Ivoire. We're really excited about the matchup that they have today against Nigeria.
Okay.
With regards to the song is playing everywhere in all the marquees.
I see.
In all the clubs.
Wow.
And even at the stadium. So even at the opening game, we had that game and people were there dancing,
Wonderful.
playing. Excited about it.
Just a final bit on the song. When was it released? When did Coup de Marteau come out? Was it just before the competition?
It came out just before the competition, or at least that's when I started hearing it everywhere.
Okay.
And it's really been present. People on TikTok have been using it like crazy for all the videos that they're doing. So everyone's really props to Tamsir for such a great song.
I see. It's a wonderful song. It's a lovely song. I like it. Let's talk about the game. So after the high of beating Guinea-Bissau, now there's a big test for Les Éléphants. They have to take on the mighty Nigeria. Before we get into what could potentially happen, you've been going through some of the newspapers. I'm sure you've read the quotes. You've seen some of the images. What have the players and the Ivorian coaches been saying about this particular encounter?
I think they're very conscious about the ramifications of winning or losing or even drawing the game. So they're prepared to the best that they can to ensure that they'll be able to perform and do their best to be able to make it out of the group. If they win, they're basically guaranteed to get out of the group, especially with the rules of 4 of the third best teams in the groups also being picked out to come out of the group. So they want to be able to perform, and the government has also helped them. So today is a little bit of a holiday in Côte d'Ivoire. Schools are out, so none of the children have gone to school. And then most of the companies are doing what they call journée continue. So journée continue is you start early, you work a bit, maybe about an hour earlier than normal, and then you work through lunchtime, and after lunch, so around 2 or 1, depending on the company, you can go home. So a lot of people are expected to be in the Maquis to support the team. Lots of people are also expected to go to Ebimpe Stadium to also support the team. So the government and everyone is really doing their part to ensure that Les Elephants perform well and beat Nigeria later on today.
I see. I mean, you talked about the ramifications, and I understand because it is the biggest game they will play in the group, and it is against Nigeria. On the side of the fans, what have they been saying? How are they thinking about this game? You know, like the team, are they also conscious of the fact that this is Nigeria and they could potentially cause a problem this evening?
Yeah, everyone in the country is really conscious in terms of the fans. They're very conscious of the kind of team that we're going up against. If we look at the attacking force that Nigeria has, if you think of the likes of Victor Osimhen or even Chukwueze, everyone knows that Nigeria has the potential of scoring lots of goals. So we need to ensure that the team is compact, doesn't concede goals, but also be confident in the team that they have. The Ivory Coast team will probably see the return of Sébastien Haller and also Semen and Adringer. So they have their own attacking force to be able to counter or even dominate the play and score some goals. So everyone here is really confident that they should be able to pull off a win later on today at 5 p.m. And let's see how it goes.
I see. Between day one or the last time the Ivorians played and today, which player has stood out in terms of like the fan favorite? Is there any player the fans have gravitated towards as their favorite, or who's like the star player in the Ivorian team in the eyes of the fans?
Well, Sekou Fofana scored the first goal to open off this AFCON 2023, and since then, in the Maquis or even the streets, a lot of people have been talking about Sekou Fofana. Each and every fan has their own favorite player, from Simon Adegara to Haller to even some of the other players. But it seems like because Sekou Fofana scored that first goal and then also hit that ball smoothly and then it hit the crossbar, people have been really talking about him quite a bit. So I think the battle in the midfield will be something that's key, and Sekou Fofana will also have his play to, his say to ensure that Les Elephants come out with a win today.
All right. You mentioned Sébastien Haller and Simon Adingra. We saw Crasso score that wonderful goal in the other game. Do you think Haller gets straight into the team, or he'll start off from the bench and then he gets introduced later?
I think it's more likely that he will get introduced later. The coach, Jean-Louis Gasset, will not want to upset the apple cart. They played well, mainly in the second half they played well, and they were able to get the win in the first match. So why not start with the same team and maybe make some tweaks? I think that probably Serge Aurier will most likely start in the match today at 5 p.m. But other than that, that's the only change that I foresee from the starting lineup against Nigeria today.
All right, finally, John, give us a prediction. I mean, Côte d'Ivoire is your adopted country now. Can you give us a prediction? How do you think this game will play out? And will you be at the stadium to watch, though?
So yeah, Côte d'Ivoire is my adopted country, but I'm at heart, I'm a Ghanaian. So I've decided to go to the Ghana versus Nigeria. Ghana
Egypt
versus Egypt game at 8 p.m. tonight.
Okay.
I believe that Les Elephants will come out with a win today. Let's say 2-1. A goal from Crasso, a goal from Sébastien Haller, and then maybe Osimhen will score a goal.
I see, Octopus John. I didn't know you were dabbling in precise predictions, but John, thank you so much, and we'll talk later. Have a good day, and a plus.
For having me.
Okay. All right, so that was John Boafo. He's in Abidjan and keeping an eye on the AFCON. Let's have a look at that game involving Côte d'Ivoire. This was the last time they played. This was the opening day of the AFCON. It was last Saturday night. at the start Felix Houphouët-Boigny, or it was at the Bimpe or in Abidjan. But let's see how that game broke down. For those who haven't seen the highlights, this is Cote d'Ivoire's first game of the competition. They took on Guinea-Bissau and won that game by 2-0. All right, so we've seen how the Ivorians looked like in their last game. We've seen how the Nigerians looked like in their last game as well. Guys, it's the biggest, I can say the biggest game of the competition so far, if you like.
Yeah. Especially based on what happened in the first
Yeah,
round.
we've not had...
You can't put Ghana and Egypt on the same level as Nigeria.
This is Nigeria, and it's absolutely crazy. So now we listened to John, who was talking about the Ivorian team being very conscious, being very aware of the potential problems Nigeria can cause. Now, what are some of those problems Nigeria can cause Cote d'Ivoire? Having at the back of our minds what we saw from the Ivorians when they played Guinea-Bissau last weekend.
The only problem that Nigeria seem to have that they can actually cause other people is their attack. It's only the attack that's really sharp about the Nigerians. Aside that, the team is very, very imbalanced. And for me, we see it to be a big game, but I don't see it to be a big game as such.
Okay.
I don't see it to be a big game. I feel the Ivorians are going to have a field day. If they are able to handle their midfield correctly, they would have an excellent day, trust me on that one. Because the Nigerians are even sweating for fitness of some of their midfielders they took to the tournament who played. Alassane is still out, and we maybe might see him and might not see him because he's still not fit. And that gives a gaping hole in the middle. They already don't have enough numbers in the middle. They only have a little bit of numbers at the back. And they have a bunch of attackers. A new attacker has even joined camp, the OJC's striker. In as much as he provides a different narrative to their attack, it's still the midfield for Nigeria. And that's why I feel Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire is going to win the game. The midfield is going to be so compact from Cote d'Ivoire, and they are going to really boss it and lay intricate passes to help them finish off. And they've got the men to also finish off for them. So for me, it's the problem that's going to be provided by Nigeria is going to be thwarted by Cote d'Ivoire.
Cote d'Ivoire. Interesting. Yeah, the Ivorians themselves do have quality.
Yeah.
We've seen the quality run through the Sergio Rey at the back. Seko Fofana looks good in midfield. He has Frank Kessie for company. It's up top that you get the sense a decision has to be made.
Yeah.
I was asking John, and he believed that Ale would start off the bench. Do you think it would be fair for Ale to come into the game later? You start with Jean-Philippe Crasso.
Yeah, I think you start with Crasso, and you have Halle come off the bench because I think Crasso, he struggled a little bit in front of goal. Yeah, he wasted a couple of chances. But all in all, I don't think they are in a desperate situation to just lump Ale into the starting lineup. Like Sedi said, this game, I don't see it as a big game. A big game is when you have two teams that have brilliant quality, are almost at the same level, and have the perfect matchups. But I look at Nigeria, I look at Cote d'Ivoire. The main reason why it's a big game is because of the names on the teams and the fact that there's a lot of history. So both nations have won the AFCON on multiple occasions. And so all that adds up to it being a big game. But on the paper, at least on paper, Cote d'Ivoire, odds-on favorite to win this. Because at the end of the day, you look at the team from the defense to the finish line or to the attack, you see balance everywhere. So in defense, you have Wilfred Singo, one of the players I'm looking out for in this tournament. He plays for AS Monaco, brilliant defender. You have Ivan Ndeka, who plays for AS Roma. You have in midfield. That midfield is where the strength lies for Cote d'Ivoire, because in their first game, on the right side, they had Frank Kessie. On the left side, they had Seko Fofana. Then in the middle, they had Ibrahim Sangari. Yeah. Then you move on to the front line. Now, that's where I honestly believe the central striker Crasso should be maintained, but there's a possibility that if there's going to be a player coming back from injury and getting inserted into the starting lineup, between Ale and Adingra, I'll go for Adingra.
Adingra, okay.
Yeah, I'll go for Adingra. I think
into
Ale,
midfield.
No, to add to the wing.
White, okay,
yeah,
yes,
to White.
yes.
Yeah, but Ale, I think he should start off the bench. But you look at on the other side for Nigeria, the imbalance is so clear to show. In their game against Equatorial Guinea, 4-1-4-1, that's the formation they play with Frank Onyeka as the defensive midfielder. Then you had Alex Iwobi and Alhassan Yusuf also dropping deep sometimes to support him and morph into a 4-3-3 formation. But it's imbalanced because Onyeka is not your out-and-out DM. He is more like a Frankesi who shuffles between defense and attack. But because of the absence of Wilfred Ndidi, so they have to play him there because they don't have enough options in that position. And once you top it up with Alhassan Yusuf, who wasn't the plan A, he was a plan B, and the fact that this is his first AFCON, he's quite young, and on top of that, they are sweating over his fitness. Yeah, I don't think Cote d'Ivoire should struggle that much getting past Nigeria, knowing very well that the Nigerian wingers also aren't too defensively disciplined.
Okay.
You look at Chukwuemeka, you look at I think Moses Simon is okay on the defensive side, but you look at Ademola Lookman, their defensive discipline is not on point. So that adds up to the imbalance in the system, and I don't think Ivory Coast should overly sweat getting past Nigeria. I'm looking forward to a Cote d'Ivoire win.
Okay, all right. Let's go through some of your messages that have come through on the WhatsApp number 020-444-7033, 020-444-7033. Larry Nungwa says, Coach Chris showed a bit of bravery with his lineup and just started about 2 or 3 selection choices going wrong. He needs to continue to show bravery, but the structure must be right. The Egyptians are good on transitions, hence I think 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 should help us contain their transitions. This one says, the groundswell chiseling and near total thumbs down of Black Stars by Ghanaians is most shocking. As a fellow Black African and neighbor, I'm rooting for Ghana to get a draw or pull a win. For Nigeria, the Super Eagles will not lose against Cote d'Ivoire. Repeat of AFCON 2013 when Nigeria dumped out a classy Drogba-led Ivorian team in the quarterfinals. Samuel from Abuja in Nigeria. Thank you so much. This one says, remember to eat before the Ghana game because with Black Stars, no blood tonic can help you restore your appetite. Loader from Michelle Camp sent that particular message. All right. Let's switch attentions. Let's talk more about the Black Stars. Let's see how the 4 teams in this group fared the last time they played, or the 2 teams who will play tonight, Ghana and Egypt. They all played over the weekend. So let's see what the Egyptians did, and then we'll see what the Ghanaians did, and then we focus on the game that will be happening between these 2 sides later today at 8 p.m. All right, so that was what happened to Egypt and Ghana the last time they played in the AFCON. Ghana lost 2-1 to Cape Verde. Egypt drew 2-2 with Mozambique. Let's hear from Black Stars head coach Chris Hughton and Black Stars forward Jordan Ayew. Both of them have been speaking ahead of tonight's encounter at 8 p.m.
It's always so quick with 4 days. The preparation is always a mixture of recovery, because obviously the ones who played the majority of the game have to recover for match day +1 and match day +2. They have to recover, but it's also an opportunity for the players who didn't play so much or didn't play at all to train hard the following day. So it's always trying to get the balance and trying to get in as much of the tactical work as you are able to do. Okay, so our what we know we're up against a very good, experienced team that, of course, are used to doing very well in this competition. You know, our responsibilities are. And I know we speak about looking forward, but our responsibilities are to assess in our last game where we should have done better, the areas that we should have done better, and to make sure that we can improve going into the next game. Our level has to be higher. We are playing on paper, a very good side, a better team. So we know that our levels have got to be better. So just an update on Mohamed. Mohamed Kudus is, as most are aware, he joined camp later than anybody else because of an injury that he sustained in his last game for West Ham. We will continue to assess him. We have today and tomorrow morning to assess. He has trained. He has trained the last few days, but we will assess him, as I say, today and tomorrow, and make a decision tomorrow. We changed personnel in the first game to a player that is a more offensive type player. But these are the requirements that we have regarding the players that are always available, and so it's two. One, it's picking a team with the strengths that we have and the players that are available, and then the second part is always the opposition and how we feel that is the best way to play against the opposition. So these are always decisions and planning that we make, and this is something that's always done with myself and my technical team over a period of time, and analysis of our last game and analysis of course, the opposition that we play. Firstly, I don't have the expression. I have an expression. Hopefully, this is a good omen that the Black Stars in this same position.
All right, so that was Black Stars head coach Chris Hughton. Let's hear from Black Stars forward Jordan Ayew, who had a few things to say in that press conference, or in the mandatory pre-match press conference ahead of tonight's game at 8 p.m.
We didn't concentrate for 90, 95, 98, 100 minutes, and that's what cost us the game. The most important thing for us is to come back, stay focused, be as a team, and show different qualities that we have, and be more aggressive in every department, and we'll be fine. I have total belief in the boys, the staff are working really hard, and I know that tomorrow will be a really good day for us and for Ghana, so I'm really confident, and yeah. Well, obviously tomorrow is going to be a tough game. The boys were ready. We put ourselves in our own selves in this situation, so we need to come out of it. And you never know in football. So tomorrow we are ready. We'll give our best. We'll fight. We'll represent Ghana as well as we can. Put in a better performance as a team, and hopefully tomorrow everyone will be happy. As a team, as players, we are ready for the challenge, and we have belief in ourselves that tomorrow we can have a good result, and we just need to keep on pushing hard. It's not easy, but we need to force the luck, and to force the luck you need to work hard, you need to fight, and tomorrow we are ready to fight, we are ready to give everything, we are ready to give our blood on the pitch, and that's what we're going to do. Listen, that's the situation we are in now, we cannot change it. So the only thing we can do is to look forward, and to look forward is the game tomorrow, and tomorrow we're going to go on the pitch with determination, fight, good team spirit, and elevate our performance to give it a go, and we'll see what will happen after the game.
Black Stars forward Jordan Ayew speaking there. Guys, so it all comes down to this particular game involving Ghana and Egypt. Ghana for the right to stay alive in the competition. Egypt probably for the right to set themselves up to make it to the next stage of the competition. We've heard a lot from the players. Jordan says they've put themselves in a difficult situation. He says they need to keep pushing, they need to force their luck. We've heard from Chris Hughton, who's had a few things to say about the team being ready and all of that. There's still the issue of Mohamed Kudus, whether or not he starts. Just initial thoughts on this game, and then we can get into the specifics. The Black Stars are playing a game of their lives, really. They need to win to stay in the competition.
They put themselves here, so they actually need to be the same people who drag themselves out of it. For me, all the right things that need to be said have been said. They have been very diplomatic about the kind of things they say. They're saying the right things all the time since they lost the game. But the question lies, will there be right tactical transformation to give us the needed results? That is the only question that needs to be answered, because for me, I feel that we've got the quality as a team, or Ghana has the quality to beat Egypt. People may disagree, but later I would explain why. But Ghana has the quality to beat Egypt. Only if tactics change. If not, Ghana will be walloped. If tactics do not change, they can say all the right things that need to be said, avoid controversy around the team. They are trying to avoid controversy around the team. It's needed, but still, if the tactics is wrong, Ghana will get beat. It's very simple as that. They can say all the right things, but Ghana, if they get the tactics wrong, the starting lineup, when it goes wrong, and they switch off in the first half like they normally do in Hilton games, you want to use the first 45 minutes to gauge your opponent. You have video analysts to do that for you, please. This is 90 minutes business, from minute 1 to minute 90. It's got to be seriousness from that particular blast of the whistle. You don't need to go and experiment in the first half. So the starting lineup and the tactics and what you tell each specific player, is what's important, not what's being said. They are saying all the right things. We like their diplomacy.
I like that. Yeah, it's a very, very important game. Let's start off with Chris Hughton.
Yeah.
You know, Senam talks about the right tactical decisions.
Yeah.
Between Sunday and today, what do you think Chris Hughton should have worked on? What should change as the Black Stars head into tonight's game in terms of tactics or a game plan, whatever? What should Chris Hughton do tonight if he has to get that result he wants?
Well, for starters, he should try to get his team to cross the ball a little bit more.
Cross the ball a bit more?
Yeah, cross the ball a bit more. So against Cape Verde, we crossed the ball 12 times. The whole game, 12 times into the box. 12 times. For context, Egypt crossed the ball 44 times against Mozambique.
Wow.
Cameroon crossed the ball 36 times against Guinea. So what that tells me is that Nigeria crossed the ball 24 times against Equatorial Guinea. And
what if, for example, the Nigerians have got Osimhen?
Yes.
The Egyptians, I'm sure they have their own ways or their targets in there. But do the Black Stars have somebody they can cross the ball to?
Yes, they can cross the ball to. Iñaki Williams. So Iñaki Williams, I expect to start this game. And because of the presence of Iñaki Williams, I expect the Black Stars to cross the ball a bit more. And on top of that, I expect the crosses to be more than it was or they were against Cape Verde, because we have good crosses of the ball. We have traditional orthodox wingers in Joseph Paintel, in Osman Bukari, in Ernest Nyama, and in Antoine Semenyo to an extent. And so we need to see those kind of things happen in this game against Egypt. Number two, I would like to see Konigsdorfer not being played in that creative hole behind the striker, because he is not that player. Konigsdorfer this season for Hamburg in the Bundesliga 2 has played 18 games in all. 15 in the Bundesliga 2 and 3 in the German Cup. None of those games have you had Konigsdorfer play behind the striker.
Okay. So
None of
where
it.
did he play?
He's played predominantly as a right winger, and on a couple of occasions as a left winger, and sparingly as a center forward. He has never played as a creative midfielder or in that creative hole behind the striker all season long. So when you play him in that position, you're pretty much setting him up for failure. You're setting him up to fail. And on top of that, that position demands a lot of tactical discipline knowing when to shuffle between the attack and defense. So constantly, you had Cape Verde always attacking our left side, where Gideon Mensah and Jordan Ayew were, because they constantly had overloads down that side. Konigsdorfer was nowhere to be found. And you look at the goal they scored against Ghana, it came from that side because there was that overload. Konigsdorfer failed to move towards that side to match the numbers. And they passed their way through our defense and got Jiku to move all the way from his side, the right side of defense, to move to that side and try to shore up the numbers over there. By that time, the Cape Verde striker had already shaped up and delivered that hit. Yeah, honestly, I believe Richard Ofori did what he could. I don't blame Richard Ofori for that goal. I've seen your messages on X where you blame him. You have some reservations about what he could have done, what he should have done. I won't blame Richard Ofori. I think he did the best he could because the ball took a bounce right before he made a save. And on top of that, you look at the position of Richard Ofori. He pushed the ball away from the point of action because the point of action was quite central. He pushed it a bit wide. And the Cape Verde striker, if you watch the slow-mo, he had to adjust his body. And on top of that, take that shot with his left foot, with his weaker foot.
Well, I still maintain that Richard Ofori could have done far better because I thought he punched the ball right into a zone. It doesn't matter which foot the player used.
Yeah.
So far as the player has access to the ball,
Yeah.
I think it's a dangerous thing to do.
I think the player was just positioned right. I think he was in the right place at the right time.
Brilliant.
And for that, I won't blame the goalkeeper for that.
Which goes on to say that I thought Richard Ofori, again, my point with him and looking at it again, even this entire technique across that sequence, standing, and then seeing the shot at the last minute and diving for it, was always going to put him in a disadvantage.
Yeah.
I thought if he had shuffled a bit more, launched properly, nice power step, you are in control of the situation. You are either grabbing that, or if it's too hot for you, you are palming it towards the throw line. You allow your team time to reset. So, like I said, those are my issues. Just wrap it up.
So for that, I would love to see someone who is a bit more in tune with the tactical aspects at a higher level play in that position. So I would want to see Jordan Ayew play behind the striker and have traditional wingers play either side of him with Iñaki Williams leading the attack. And on top of that, the substitutions, I honestly believe Chris Hughton should work on his substitution because he got it wrong against Cape Verde.
All right, well, when we come back from this short break, we'll still talk a lot more about the Black Stars. Very interesting times. They play later this evening against Egypt. We'll talk about the Stars, talk about the Egyptians, what they can do, and then we'll see what more to do on the show. This is still the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we have a lot more for you. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV, proudly sponsored by Bet Power. Bet Power is powering us to bring you this show. If you want the biggest odds, the best chances of winning, the biggest payouts, then you need to be very good friends with Bet Power. My guests are still here, Edmond Sedinam and Yao Ejementa of the Citi Sports Desk. Let's get to the Zoom once again. Let's speak to Citi Sports editor Benjamin Nketiah. He's in Abidjan in Cote d'Ivoire, experiencing the AFCON and witnessing everything happen live and in real time. Ben, good morning, and how are you doing?
Bonjour, Nathan. I'm good. How are you guys doing over there?
Well, yeah, we are here holding up, hoping that the Black Stars will give us a good result later today. You've been following the team. You've seen training. You've been to the pre-match press conferences, post-match press conference. Initial thoughts on what you heard from Chris Hughton and Jordan Ayew. For those who have not watched the video or listened to the audio or read any of our stories, what did you pick up from the pre-match press conference from Chris Hughton and Jordan Ayew?
Well, I can tell for a fact that after that opening defeat, they were reeling. The coaching staff, the players, and everybody involved, really. I can tell they've held multiple meetings because they know that embarrassment might be staring them in the face if they do not get an appropriate result in this game. And that was characterized by requesting one Nigerian journalist asked Jordan about if this generation of Black Stars players would have failed Ghana if they failed to make it out of the group stage in back-to-back AFCONs. Jordan retorted very quickly. He wasn't happy at all with the question. He said, until we are out of the tournament, you cannot consider us a failure. So you should hold your thoughts with that. And that just gave me a sense of where their minds are. For he himself, Jordan is typically the calm guy, but even in his calm demeanor, you could tell that he had a little bit of an edge to him. He spoke about leaving it all on the pitch. He talked about leaving their blood on the pitch. That was very interesting for me. I was like, wait, are you going to war? Are you a gladiator? What's going on here? And so I was a little surprised by that particular statement. But basically it tells you that the lads know that the stakes are high. They know that Ghanaians expect a lot from them, purely based on how Ghana has performed in previous AFCONs and how we performed in this particular game. He said that they needed to up their levels, and also they needed to make sure that if the game was going to take 110 minutes, they were going to concentrate for 110 minutes. And so that's just what it is. They know that this is not just physical as far as football is concerned. It's not even just tactical, but it's mental as well. For Hilton himself, he says that they need to up their level. Ghana needs to up its intensity. And I've been saying in a lot of my interviews, the big teams know how to raise their intensity. They know how to calm the game down when it matters, and they know how to pass it around and manage the game when it matters. And so the Black Stars would be.
All right, we'll see if we can reconnect and get to Benjamin Nketiah once again. He's joining us from Abidjan. There were a few hitches with the line. Ben, I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. I think
Okay.
I had a little break in my line. Like I was saying, I was just finishing up there. I was just saying that, look, from Jordan's words, you can tell that the guys are willing to do battle. They want to concentrate for 110 minutes if that's what they have to do, because he spoke about the fact that they switched off mentally, and that cost them as a group. In the mixed zone, when he came by earlier, he spoke about inexperience with this team. But he also spoke about the fact that they needed to be there for each other as players and not point accusing fingers at each other on individual errors. You need to keep together if you are going to win a game like this. Egypt said this was a final for them. Jordan echoed the same sentiments that this is as big as it gets for them as a group and as a nation. And so today they are going to lay it all out there. Chris Hughton believes that Ghana's level needs to go up as a nation. Like I repeated earlier on, big teams know how to turn up the ante. They know how to dial it down, calm the game down, pass it around, and manage a game when it matters. I feel like the Black Stars will be tested in a lot of facets, tactically, mentally, physically. Everything will have to come to the fore, and everything will have to be A1 today if they are to get a credible result in this game.
Ben, you've been watching the team train. What's the word on Mohamed Kudus? Is he ready? Have you seen him train? How does he look?
Talking about seeing him train, I've seen him do drills. I've seen him do individual drills. I saw him do some drills with the main group as well, but nothing to indicate that he will play. I mean, if you know how hamstring injuries work, even a minor hamstring injury will typically require about 3 weeks to be okay. And if you look at the timelines, Kudus has spent just about 3 weeks or maybe a little over that since this injury hit. And so Chris Hughton did say it was a little touch and go. We'll have to wait just about until game time to know if Kudus would be in the lineup. My guess is that he will probably come off the bench to play some minutes, because you don't want to put him in a game like this where the intensity is very high and then he ends up aggravating the injury. And so game time decision, we'll probably find out a couple of hours to the game itself. But I also think that this team have gone through a phase where they've had to plan without Mohamed Kudus. And so I think Hilton has a set of tactics where Kudus is in the mix, and then a set of tactics where Kudus isn't in the mix. And if you listen to Egyptian coach Rui Victoria, he echoes the same sentiments. He says that Kudus is a special player, but they will be prepared for him. And that they won't, even in their preparations for him, they will not center their entire game plan around Kudus because they know that Ghana can hurt them in a lot of ways. And so it's very interesting because both managers were playing mind games, trying as much as possible not to give too much away in terms of the presser. And so we'll see if Kudus starts or not. I remember this almost kind of sounds like Cameroon, only that this time Kudus is actually here in the flesh. In Cameroon, he was all the way in Holland, and we kept hearing every 2 seconds that his plane will be leaving for Cameroon, and it never landed. So we hope that it's not the same type of situation and that Kudus will be able to actually contribute a quota in this one.
But just finally, I'm sure you've interacted with some fans, Ghanaian fans in Abidjan. I don't know if you've spoken to the locals, but what's the vibe you're getting from the fans ahead of tonight's encounter? It's almost make or break for the Black Stars. Lose and they are almost certainly coming home. If they win, they stay alive in the competition. What are the fans been saying?
It's funny, right? Because a lot of people feel that the Black Stars can raise their game to match Egypt in this one. A lot of the locals I've spoken to believe that Ghana has what it takes to play Egypt. I don't know if it's because they don't follow Ghanaian football as much as we Ghanaians, but they still hold us in very high esteem as far as our national team is concerned. And so those are the sentiments of the locals. When you talk to the Ghanaians, colleague journalists, some natives down here, they feel like Ghana has what it takes to beat Egypt, but they also say that the Black Stars are the kind of team that can beat Egypt and require possibly a point from Mozambique to qualify and then probably drop the ball. And so it's very interesting sentiments on the Black Stars here, but I can tell you for a fact that a lot of Ghanaians here do believe that for all the bad performances, for all the unstructured tactics, for all the lethargy we've seen from the team, this is the game that Ghana know that they cannot afford to and be lackadaisical. And so we are hoping that the Black Stars will turn up. They will up their levels as a team. They will be mentally focused and hopefully get a result in this one.
All right, but finally, you mentioned the fact that the Black Stars will have to up their level. In terms of being motivated, have you picked up anything on, let's say, former players coming to speak to them, to inspire them? Have you picked up anything on that sort, on how the players are actually gearing up for this encounter, finding, in terms of like motivation and getting themselves fired up for this game?
I don't know about former players coming in camp, but I know that Stoneboy has been in camp. It came to motivate the team, possibly say a few words into the ears of Mohamed Kudus. Maybe he brought him some magic charm to help him heal quicker. We hope that's the case because he will be influential if he does play for Ghana. But hey, I don't feel like the guys even need anybody to come out here and motivate them. They know what the atmosphere is like. Jordan said it. Jordan says that they are not here for a holiday. They are here to win games, and so they want to go out there and put it all on the line. Know that at least they gave it their all, even if they don't get the desired results. And so I think that this is a game where you need to be internally motivated because there's a lot at stake. You do not want to be that team that has been crowned African football royalty, but have some way somehow managed to crash out twice on the bounce in the group stage. And so they know that this will be embarrassing. They know that it will probably be the lowest of the lows if the Black Stars don't get a win and against Mozambique, we probably don't get a favorable result to get out of the group. And so the lads want to come out there and do well. A lot of people I've spoken to have mentioned the fact that Houghton needs to put out the right starting lineups. You get the sense from a lot of my colleagues here that they don't feel that the first game had the right lineup to do what Ghana needed to do. And so we'll see what kind of lineup comes out today, but we expect a battle today, really. It's going to be that type of game.
All right, Ben, thank you so much for that. That was Citi Sports editor Benjamin Nkita in the thick of things in Abidjan, in Côte d'Ivoire. Guys, interesting thoughts there. Ben was saying that the players don't need any extra motivation. Just the situation they are in should be enough motivation for them.
Yeah. If you have a fan walking to the coach and quote unquote whispering in his ear and being dragged away, that should be motivation enough for you to see that the people have now become so angry at the team and the team has lost its love. You need to bring the love back. Okay. And all depends on Coach Chris Houghton today. Because I feel this game feeds beautifully into his style of play. His style of play is to sit back, soak up all the pressure, and this is the game for him to deliver that.
Okay.
Not going to experiment with one DM, 1-8, 1-10. No, you go and play Madagascar with double pivot, and then you go and play Cape Verde with a single pivot, and you are going to play Egypt with a single pivot. It won't work. For me, I feel the Black Stars should just sit back, soak all the pressure, and then have pacey wingers. Pacey wingers, not sluggish wingers, but just pacey wingers in Nyama and then Pencil. Bukari, I have my reservations. I have big reservations about him.
Okay.
But just having these two guys on the wing, have the ball in defense, or anyone has the ball, just look for these guys as outlets to run the channel and get the crosses into Inaki to score. You can have Jordan playing them in the middle if you want him to, behind the striker if you want him to play. Aside that, you don't need Jordan on the wings because he will slow play down. And you don't need that in this game. You need to hit Egypt on the counter. That's the only way you can get a result. You can't decide to go toe-to-toe with Egypt, open up the game and play. They would humble you. Just sit back and hit them on the counter.
Yeah, do you agree?
Yes, I agree. The point is I put out a piece earlier this week, and my final conclusions, I just put it out there, like, looking at the talents that we have, the team that we have. Let's say Waheed Regragui is the coach of the Black Stars. Wouldn't we be confident that we are going to win the title? We would be confident. Yeah. Let's say Aliou Cisse was the one coaching the Black Stars. Aliou Cisse, head coach of Senegal, was the one coaching the Black Stars. This group of players. Would we not be confident that we are going to win the title? We would be. And so it all boils down to Coach Chris Hughton and his decisions. And for me, looking at what happened in that first game, I wasn't impressed with what he did. The personnel in his substitutions weren't on point. The timing of his substitutions also weren't on point.
Okay.
Because bringing in the Dayu at a time where we were most comfortable in the game, at a time where Antoine Semenyo looked most comfortable in the game, was having some kind of joy, some level of joy down the left side and not even through the central channels. And taking him off and bringing on the Dayu, I think it wasn't needed. If you are taking off Joseph Painter, if you are taking off Antoine Semenyo, bring on direct replacement so that they maintain the intensity down the flanks. Because it was clear that the Cape Verdeans, their fullbacks, they were tiring because they played the full 90 minutes. And if you have Joseph Painter running at you consistently, if you have Antoine Semenyo running at you consistently, around the 70th minute, you will definitely tire. So if you are taking them off, you need to bring on direct replacement in either Osman Bukari or Enes Nyama. He brought on Enes Nyama to play as an inverted winger as a replacement for Joseph Painter. But Chris Hughton made it easy for Cape Verde to deal with that threat because he kept Jordan Ayew on for a very long time till the 90th minute before introducing Osman Bukari. And at that time, they had just got the winner. And it was us trying to play catch-up. So for me, I think his substitutions should be on point. The timing of his substitutions should be on point. And he should just get his personnel in the starting unit right. Don't, in terms of tactics, don't play Konigsdorfer in that creative midfield role behind the striker. It is a no-no because he's not that type of player. And it is for a guy who was on the fringes of the Black Stars. Even against Liberia in our friendly game against Nigeria, he didn't even start. It was against Namibia ahead of the AFCON that he started, and he did well. I'll give him that. He did well. But that is not enough evidence. The sample size is too small for you to entrust him with that huge responsibility in that game against Cape Verde as a starter. And it backfired. So I don't expect to see that again from Chris Hughton. I think once he touches on these three issues, I think it will be fine.
All right. Well, let's hear what the fans of the national team are saying. Benjamin Nketiah spoke about fans he had interacted with in Abidjan. Let's hear from fans we interacted with here in Accra on the chances of the Black Stars against Egypt in tonight's encounter.
I'm expecting best from them. I'm expecting that they do all the best. And they work harder for more improvements. That's
between Ghana versus Egypt. We want Ghana to win, but if they don't win, they should draw, but not goalless draw. Maybe 1-1 or 2-2 is much better, yes, so that we score Mozambique the next.
Well, looking at the current performances that has been displayed, it's difficult to say we should be confident, but who knows? Football is about how you are able to make use of the 90 minutes that has been given to you. So until the football that we are going to play is over, we can't certainly say that we will lose. We are very confident of whatever we are going to take in this, and I think we may win. It's not certain. Once it is a probability, but we may win. That's my estimate. It will be a big blow to us if Kudus does not, because last play that we had with the Cape Verde, we saw what transpired, and it was partially because he was losing part, and the front line was a bit weaker because he was not there. And so if he's not, definitely he's our star man. It's going to affect the Ghana, but I only hope that he will be able to start. Even if he will not be able to complete, at least he will be able to start and then do something for it.
All right, so those were the thoughts of some fans. You know, some people say they want improvement. Some people say they want a win. My favorite one was the gentleman who said he doesn't want a goalless draw. Yeah. He wants a score draw.
Yeah. I have news for you. Just go to Bet Power. Go to Bet Power and drop something.
Yeah,
nice odds.
Because I mean, they've got the best odds. Yeah. They pay big too, so you know. I'm sure if you go and drop something, you can.
He has to drop something. Everything will turn out nice.
No, but
everything will turn
the
out
prediction.
Nice.
The prediction cracks
so
me
no
up.
goalless draw. No goalless. Yes. We want something. We want something to do something. Yeah. Citi Bet Power. So yeah. No goalless draw. Black Stars. No goalless draw.
I find it so interesting, like the precise.
He says if they don't, they should win. If they don't win, they should draw.
But no goalless
draw. Yeah. 1-1, 2-2.
I like such an individual. He knows what he wants. He really knows what he wants. Yeah. I like such an individual. Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, guys. So if I pushed you to the wall to give me your respective starting 11s, which one would you give? So now let me start with you.
Ati's game post.
Hey, you bring in Ati.
In as much as I know it won't happen. This is what I would have done.
Okay, fine. That's fair. I mean, you have the right to choose.
Ati's game post. And I'll go for a 4-back. So Salisu and then Jiku. And then it's going to be difficult, but Odoi does not seem to start this game for me because of the pacey wingers they've got in the Egyptian team. So that would mean that I'd need to bring in Mr. Susumo. He would have to play. He has a little more pace than our man, Professor. And on the left side, I'll retain Gideon Mensah. We move into the middle. We play. I want to play a double pivot. One reason, to aid the laterals. So I'll play our favorite double pivot. In as much as people don't want to see Baba Idrisu, I'll start Baba Idrisu and then add Ahmed Salis. And then in the hole in front of them, that's where I would play our man Jordan. And then pacey wingers to just sit back, soak up the pressure, and then burst out. So Ernest Dunyama and Joseph Pinto, not Osman Bukari, like I said earlier. And up front, you have Inaki, because he's going to constantly run at the defenders of Egypt. And we've seen in their previous game that they are not so good when it comes to their defending this tournament. They had one of the worst showings at right back for, I think it's Hani. Yeah, his name is Hani. He has one of the worst showings. So put Ernest Nyama on him or put Joseph Pinto on him. Okay. Put these guys, let them push the laterals back and let Inaki do the running up front. I think Ghana can get a result out of that. But if you go and open it up, hallelujah.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll stick with the system or the formation and the personnel that I picked out before the start of the tournament. Okay. And so, yeah, Richard Ofori in goal, played 3 at the back with Mohamed Salisu, Daniel Almate, and Alexander Jiku. Then, as the wing backs, I'll have Alidu Seidu and Gideon Mensah. Then in the middle, I'll have Ashimeru and Salis Samet. Then on the wings, I'll have I'll start with Antoine Semenyo. Then you have Joseph Paintil. And through the middle, I'll go with Iñaki Williams. Ideally, it should have been Mohamed Kudus down the right side, but I don't think he'll play.
Okay.
I don't think he'll start. So I'll go with Joseph Painter and Antoine Semenyo with Ernest Nyama and Osman Bukari as their replacement to offer that direct threat down the wings. Because at the end of the day, Egypt, under Rui Vitória, as Mozambique showed, they are suspect to the high press, the downside of the high press, because they are suspect to the counter-attack. And if you hit them directly with the counter-attack, play vertical passes that Majid Ashimiro can with pacey wingers and wing forwards like Iñaki Williams and Joseph Painter, you can really catch them off guard and get a goal or two.
Okay, all right. We'll see how that game rolls out. Let me read some messages again on the WhatsApp number 020-444-7033. This one says, I think Coach Christopher Houghton or Chris Houghton should bench Odoye and start Ali Duseidu. I also think he should start the very experienced Daniel Amate. Okay, we'll see if Amate will start. This one says, my name is Abubakar Shamsu. I'm watching you live from Giranturu. And he says, Ghana 2, Egypt 0. This one says, I'm watching your program live from Wa. I'll advise all Ghanaians to eat before tonight. I don't have trust in the Black Stars anymore. Yazid Topie Yakubu sends that. So he's advising all of us to eat early because it might not be a pleasant evening.
Yeah, and it's down to what has happened in recent years. Bar the draw, the score draw we got against Nigeria that got us to the World Cup in Qatar. Ghana has consistently failed to bring the goods when we are under pressure to deliver. Mm-hmm. So you think about Ghana against Comoros. All you needed was a draw or a win. We failed to do that. You got to the World Cup against Uruguay. All you needed was a draw or a win, and you qualified to the next stage. Ghana ended up losing. And the fact that this team is quite young, you have a lot of players playing in the AFCON for the first time, as many as 10 players, and with some in the starting lineup. The ability to deal with that pressure, that will be key in everything. And I don't think Ghana has fared too well in that department. Chris Houghton doesn't help matters. So that's why in terms of prediction, I struggle to see Ghana getting a win over Egypt.
I see.
Because we have to deliver. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're under a lot of pressure. We lost to Cape Verde, and so under a lot of pressure, we haven't fared too well. And Chris Houghton hasn't shown much for me to believe in him. And so I struggle to see Ghana beating Egypt. I think the best will be a draw.
I see. Said now quickly.
It just depends on the tactics he deploys and what he tells the players.
Okay.
Osman Bukari, like I said, would be exciting to see him back. Mm-hmm. Reports coming from his parents' club say he does not really listen to the coach's instruction. That's why I would want to just maybe see him from the bench. But depends on what he tells the players. If he tells them to go and enjoy themselves, but play to what is on paper, we'll see a lovely game. But if he plays his normal surprise things he likes to pull on us, I'm sure we'll get beat.
Okay, all right. We'll see how that game will play out. It's Ghana versus Egypt later this evening. That game is live on Citi 97.3 FM. We've got live coverage of the AFCON for you. This has been the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. Thank you for watching. Show was proudly brought to us by Bet Power. My name is Nathan Kwao. My guests were Sednam Edmond and Yao Ajay Minta. Many, many thanks for tuning in. We'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow with another exciting episode, reviewing everything that's happened today in the AFCON 2023 tournament in Cote d'Ivoire. We'll catch you later. Have a good day.